Well, spring is well underway here in Texas, and as many probably have seen and heard, for us it was a bit of a rough winter, so the warm sunny days of spring are definitely a relief, especially welcome for me as I keep a garden throughout the warmer months of the year. So finally being able to get things planted and see them sprouting is very enjoyable for me. Every time one season ends and another rolls around, however, I find myself thinking about how we in the modern world have become so disconnected from the seasons and, by default, nature itself. It is easy to ignore the changing seasons today when you can get any vegetable or fruit at any point of the year by simply going to the grocery store and picking up any produce out of the season that it would be normally grown, or sitting inside with air conditioning or heat running, depending on the time of the year and weather. With these aspects of modern life in mind, I suppose it really isn't too surprising to see increases in feelings of depression around the times of seasons changing, myself being among those who can get affected by it. While we today don't necessarily need to be as in tune with nature to survive, the people of the past, those of the medieval era included, could not afford to be as disconnected to the natural world as their entire livelihoods, as well as in many cases their lives, depended on knowing and feeling the changes that came with the seasons. If you were late planting in the spring, for instance, you may not be able to bring in as much food for the next winter for you and your family. The same could be said for planting too early, as a late season cold snap could kill off any early sprouts you had planted, forcing you to start over. Making sure you were adequately prepared for the changing seasons was a necessity, knowing that you had a certain amount of time during the warmer months of the year to gather in what you could for the coming winter. This was especially the case in the colder climates of the nations in Northern Europe. There were also many jobs that depended on the seasons as well, apart from farming. Some jobs would be performed almost exclusively at certain points of the year. The weather and shortening and lengthening of days, depending on the season, would play a major role in this as well. Once you had brought in all your crops in autumn, perhaps you would find yourself in need of work. After all, your fields may be laying empty for up to maybe as much as 6 months. We know from some records that land maintenance was a very common seasonal job during the colder months of the year, as when the fields were empty, it became necessary to keep them clear of growing hedges or trees or other growth, and it would have been something well suited for the days of winter, as you'll be avoiding the long hot days during the summer, thereby making it somewhat of an easier job and providing another means of income for more lower class people of the time. On the other hand, during the summer, you would have seasonal jobs more suited for the warmer weather as well. For instance, tile making was generally carried out during the warmer months of the year, as it would be easier to work the clay needed to make tiles then rather during the colder months. In fact, there were quite a few records showing that individuals who would be employed as tile makers during the spring and summer would often take up landscaping work during the fall and winter when colder weather made working clay more difficult. Some records even show that construction sites, depending on the region in which they were located, would even close down completely starting in early autumn, so around mid-September to usually around the start of spring in March or April. With all these things in mind, it is really clear that being in touch with the seasons in the past was more necessary and in fact vital to life. I personally believe that as we have become more out of touch with these things today, we have lost something which may be tied to seasonal depression in many cases, and that it is probably in fact more healthy to try to feel more connected with the changing seasons like the people of the past. Well, that was a little bit of a different video. I don't know if I'd say necessarily more of an opinion video, but I wanted to do something a little different here. I kind of looked into, the changing seasons, what it meant for people in the past, but it was really more about me kind of like, examining how we relate to seasons today, even though it was a very short video, kind of very brief, summarized, giving my opinion on it. I did do a little bit of research for this, and I want to give a big thank you to Modern History. I did use some of his videos as sources for this video here. I'll leave a link below if you guys want to go check out his channel. Great content. I really enjoy his videos. But anyway, I would like to thank thee so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to click like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to go check out my Instagram, I have an Instagram account where I occasionally post pictures from projects here on the channel, as well as a Twitter account where I do the same. I'll leave links to those down in the description, so feel free to go check them out if you are so inclined. But anyway, Thank thee ever so much for watching. I do hope that thou enjoyed, and until we meet again, I bid thee a fond farewell.